Sitting here watching the World Baseball Classic. It's 1-1 at the moment. Two solo home runs, but it's pretty fun. Ole Miss is playing Pine Bluff at the moment. Figure the Rebels are going to dispatch them fairly easy. That's the reason I'm watching the World Baseball Classic championship game. You know, nothing against the Rebs. It just I kind of wanted to see Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani play against each other. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to hopefully hear from Derek Vandy Griff and Kara. Hopefully, they're going to pop in as well. But we'll see exactly what happens there. Counting on Derek for his baseball thing, but after the Vanderbilt series this weekend, I can see maybe why he is not coming in at the moment. But whatever. Today was the first day of spring practice, and the reports came out that all three quarterbacks threw the ball very well, and that basically all of the consternation about Spencer Sanders' injury leading up to spring practice was overblown. I don't want to say it was a media creation, but I mean, I think we took it a little bit farther than we needed to. Whenever he was just being rested to get ready and be fully healthy for spring, that's different than something actually being wrong. It's just is what it is. I think we have a genuine quarterback controversy on our hand, or a competition on our hand. Jackson Dart has thrown the ball very well. He has done whatever he needed to do. His accuracy is a little bit better. From everything says, he's stronger, Lane Kiffin said today. And he worked out with a special quarterback coach out in California, and that helped him out as well. So Jackson Dart has taken some steps. Spencer Sanders, like I said, threw the ball fairly well today, apparently, and Walker Howard as well. We have a true quarterback competition. Honestly, there's probably 5 or 6 people that watch our YouTube channel that participate in the comments that just owes me an apology, um, because they swore up and down that that there was no quarterback competition, and and they just decided to handle it however a certain way. Whatever, it's fine. Also, Jared Ivey met the press. He talked about how he is remaking his body, Nick Savage. Everybody talks about players that get bigger, faster, stronger. Well, apparently he actually is. The problem is everybody gets bigger, faster, stronger. So the gap isn't as wide as you'd think, but Jared Ivey definitely looks a lot better than he did last year. And it should be interesting to see him on the defensive line. It should be really good. And Isheem Young was in there talking about how at the end of last season, he said that the main reason the season ended the way it did was that they just didn't finish very well. And I think that's a little bit of protecting the team going on there. So we'll see exactly how that happens as well, because I do think the end of last season was sabotage. Not, it wasn't. The distraction got so much that it was just going to always go only one direction. Just period. You can think of what you want to about how it was. You can't really think of the way that it played out and affected the kids. It just is what it is. But that is what we've got from spring football day one. Interesting enough, Jamonte Waller, the defensive lineman out of Picayune, class of 2024, got his 5th star from 24/7 Sports. He's the number 22 ranked player in the country. Now, Mississippi has 2 5 stars in this 2024 class. If you've watched videos and know what is going on, we have pretty consistently told you about how special this class was. And now 2 5 stars are going to be available from Mississippians going forward. I think Jamonte Waller is a heavy Ole Miss lean at this moment, but I've been telling people for weeks the big boys are going to try and get him. He's going to be able to make plays because he's a combine freak. So just get ready because this is going to be an unbelievable ride between him and Kamari and Franklin. Mississippi has a chance for just a special, special class. I mean, just absolutely amazing. Now, like I said, we're still 1-1 in the World Baseball Classic. We talked about recruiting. That's my wheelhouse. Football, that's my wheelhouse. Let's talk about women's basketball just a little bit. Coach O doing a fantastic job with the Lady Rebs. They take on Louisville Friday, I think. I'm not sure exactly what time it is, but I'm sure everybody's going to be watching. And just thinking about what this program was like whenever she took over, it just makes me feel good to think about that somebody could do that. And Coach O said, I may not have been the first person they contacted, but I was the right person. And her attitude and everything through this, just absolutely fantastic. I am so proud for what Coach O is doing with the women's basketball team. Our video channel, we've probably done 6 or 7 videos on women's basketball this season, and we're proud of that. You know, we have Brantley Sanderson, who is going to be on our show Thursday. He's going to be previewing this game, making a return trip. He did a really fantastic job. But I saw early on that this team had a chance to be fairly special, and Hottie Toddy Stroh's Kara was really big on Yo and really push that on our channel. And now, looking back on it, I'm very, very proud of exactly what is going on uh, with the channel and women's basketball and everything. So pretty excited about that. How you doing, Kara?
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. Are you watching the baseball game?
Which one?
The Pine Bluff game.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the score?
0-0.
0-0. I'm watching the World Baseball Classic.
I figured I saw your post earlier.
Yeah, and just because I just want to see the two Angels players going at each other. Japan's got the bases loaded with 1 out, and the U.S. pitcher's getting run, but it's 1-1 at the moment. Japanese player hit about a 500-foot home run earlier. Just absolutely nuts. So while you were waiting and I was talking about how the channel in general, we kind of forced ourselves fairly early in the process to cover women's basketball, even though the views might not be there. But just talk about this team that Coach O has put together, this women's team, and where they are right now.
Man, um, from when we started to where they are now, I would say that team that played Stanford would have beaten South Carolina. Like, they fixed a lot of the early mistakes. They stayed tough. They never really gave up the lead, honestly, through that whole game. They stayed aggressive. A little bit of foul trouble. Still need a little bit of improvement there, but man, um, I am so excited for Coach Yo. Uh, big supporter of hers. Um, it almost makes me nervous because people are really looking at her. Like, she is getting huge, and I need Keith to like lock her down.
Well, I don't. I don't know if Keith can actually lock her down because,
Well, you know what I mean.
I don't think she's going anywhere. She almost went somewhere last year with the Georgia job, but she decided to stay in Oxford. And I mean, honestly, she's got something going all of a sudden. And she realizes that her trajectory might lie with Ole Miss basketball because of this we defend thing. Them figuring out that realm has honestly given her an an avenue that she can recruit to, that she can build on. And I think that could help them go to even the next level, because before this Stanford game, we were all talking about, okay, Ole Miss has done everything but beaten one of these elite teams. Well, now they've
Right.
done that. So the next step for them to be would be just like to move up from unranked, which is an absolute joke that they were unranked this season. Half their losses are to top five teams. They're being treated like a, I don't know, a group of five type program, when in reality that this is a good basketball team. And then they got the 8 seed, and honestly, they should have probably been the five.
Well, I
And
mean, the seeding as a whole for SEC teams, like if I don't know if you've seen some of the other SEC teams kind of coming out and saying, against where they seeded everything, and saying the SEC isn't as challenging, and um, kind of fighting back a little bit on that. But I was talking to a friend of mine, and a small part of me, so I don't know if you've watched the women's basketball tournament every year, but one thing that there's not is a lot of upsets, right?
right,
Typically, and the one thing that's different. So I was telling them, I was like, I'm almost wondering, because there's been so many this year, if they kind of seeded some of those on purpose to
yeah,
provide a little chaos in there.
yeah. We did a video either the day or two ago where it's like women's basketball more than anybody else. After the top two seeds, there's a gap. There's a big
Right.
gap. And this year, yeah, that hasn't necessarily happened.
No, I've seen a lot, and even myself talking to a few, just saying this is the most chaos we've seen. Two one seeds already out. Um, a lot of competitiveness. Even in the lower seeds, like they were very close. I mean, Oklahoma even played close last night. Um, who else? I mean, Miami took out a one. Actually, it's kind of funny that both Miami's teams took out the Indiana team, upset the Indiana team to go to the Sweet 16. So, um, anyway, no, a part of me is almost like, is this by design to create a little chaos and bring ratings up a little bit?
Yeah, I do not know.
Yeah,
Japan
I wouldn't either, but it wouldn't surprise me because this is the most I think we've seen in a couple of years.
Japan scored is 2-1 in the bottom of the second. Uh, this is really fun for me, and I know nobody cares about this, so just bear with me, everyone. After 1994, baseball lost me. Like, I had no emotional attachment to any team or any player or whatever. I had heard of who Mike Trout was, had not watched him play until this year. I had heard
Oh,
about
really?
Otani, have
Hmm.
not watched him play. And this is the first time I've seen all of these guys play. And I honestly feel like after watching this, I just missed out on 10 years of Mike Trout.
Yeah.
And,
Good.
and how are the Angels so bad?
A lot of money and two players.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. Uh, but it is what it is. But it's just fun that I've picked
There
out
we
this
go.
thing because I had no emotional attachment, that I was able to just, hey, I'm going to pick this team for this reason, and I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to enjoy. And it's absolutely been a breath of fresh air, because how many people get to do
Yeah,
that?
very true. Oh,
Yeah,
it's one of my things I want to do.
yeah. My aunt came to visit, and she's like, yeah, we always go see the Astros games, because she lives in Houston.
Yep.
Uh, and I was like, yeah. And how many dome stadiums are there now in Major League Baseball? Seems like every stadium they pop up has a dome on it.
Mm, not very many, actually.
Texas, Houston, Miami, Tampa. Maybe they're just the ones I notice.
I only
Arizona.
know that because we have to like in the postseason, our roof is owned by like essentially like the decision is made by the commissioner on if we have the roof open or not.
Okay.
So like I don't think there's many because essentially if
Um,
there were, that probably wouldn't be our a rule. So
oh, but it's a lot of fun. Oh, by the way, I was before you came in. I talked about spring football, and if anybody missed my rant about spring football, we have a legit quarterback competition. I mean, all of this stuff that they were talking about, Spencer Sanders is injured, and all of the stuff that everybody heard, that turned out to be a little bit of hot air.
oh yeah,
And yeah, and all three of them practiced. All three of them took full reps today. And Lane mentioned all three of them in the post practice press conference. So
I missed
it'll
all
be,
that. I had
yeah,
late meetings, so I missed. I'll have to go find what he said. I missed a lot of the stuff today. I saw a few things from Ivy, but not very much.
yeah. Ivy looks like $1 million. I mean, Nick
Yeah,
Savage has
I
done
saw his
wonders with
goals,
him.
and
Yeah,
yeah, he like looks like he put in a lot of work.
yeah. And Aishim Young, just honestly, he answered stuff and he was nice and polite, but you could tell he wanted to be anybody anywhere else but there. Um, which I don't really blame him dealing with the media gaggle at Ole Miss. But it'll be interesting to see. The next practice is Thursday, uh, and then obviously the open practice on Saturday, which we're planning on having somebody there to lay eyes on what's going on this quarterback competition. So it should be fun. The defensive side of the ball, we're just going to go into it. I think I'm just going to do this thing where whoever's going there, I'm going to ask him three specific things to look for, and he can just point at them instead of just trying to give observations all through the practice because, good grief, that can just give you a headache. But it might be something like, hey, I'm looking to see if Jackson Dart is he in practice making throws between the hash marks, you know, something like that, or Quinshawn Judkins. I want to see him run outside the hash marks. That's the next step of his game is to be an outside runner as well. So maybe like some quick questions. We'll think about what's going to go on with them. Hey, Michael, you there?
I'm here.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Oh man, I can't complain.
I
Yeah.
hear you. Well, I got two questions for you about Ole Miss
Okay.
football. Uh, First one is how far do you think this competition will go? Do you think it will extend into games, kind of like last year where we had Altmaier versus Dart? And then two, who do you think our wide receiver one's going to be this year?
Quarterbacks, I do think it's going to go into the fall, but I think maybe it's just me hoping what's going to happen. I'm trying to do, wishing it, speaking it into existence. I can't. It needs to be named, in my opinion. I think it's possible to go that way. I just hope it doesn't. And wide receiver one, I think Trey Harris is the guy. He's the one that's going to absolutely stand out. What's up, Rick?
Hey, bud.
Hey, man.
Hope everything went okay for you in Tampa.
Oh, it did. It did. I found out met with the doctor. My setting did not change. I just had a crimp in the catheter that caused a little stop up briefly in my shunt, which caused my head to hurt a little bit.
Okay,
So,
cool. Great
yeah,
news. Good news. Good.
yeah.
And any updates on Tom?
Tom was in the spaces last week. He's still
Uh-huh.
having some side effects from his surgery. He still has trouble sitting down for a decent period of time.
Uh-huh.
But the prognosis, as far as I know, Kara might can answer this a little bit differently. But the prognosis I've heard is decent.
Good.
Is that
Good.
is
Good.
that
Good.
about right,
Good.
Kara?
Yeah, I think he's just still going through recovery and um the type of surgery he had, just going through what's it Not so much, not physical therapy, but close to it. Just kind of getting used to it after surgery life.
Well, evasive surgery like that takes a long
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
anyway,
But
I
Tom
see.
popping in on the space was a fantastic news for his recovery
Cool,
today.
cool.
Yeah.
I see Derek's not here. Maybe Karen knows. Any explanation on what happened in Vanderbilt?
I'll be honest. I put a lot of focus on the girls. I'll be real honest with you. I kind of checked out of the Vandy series. Derek would definitely have
Looks like
that
the
for
team
you.
did too.
Yeah. Derek will probably have that for you. I kind of went all basketball. I don't know. Hopefully, we get a nice little confidence booster tonight. Maybe just slump here with some of the pitching. So, but we're definitely missing Maddox, and Elliott, aren't we? Definitely
Mm,
noticeable as far as
yeah.
their absence.
Well, you know it's important right now, but of course the big thing is to gel by the end of the season. So
Yeah, I think if we learned anything from last year, not to panic quite yet. So Tennessee went down. Our good friends down the road went down. So um,
good deal. Who we got this weekend?
Florida, I think. Yeah, Florida.
Is that in Oxford?
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Good news.
Now, let's see. Anybody have anything else? Because I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've been really focused on our girls, ladies team, watching a lot of basketball. I'm a huge March Madness person, so a lot
Yeah,
They still.
watch
Go ahead.
watch both tournaments. So I I think this is my first time to watch baseball in a couple nights.
yeah. I've been locked into the World Baseball Classic, but that, all other than that, has been March Madness for me as well.
Kara, have they announced that the time and TV network for Friday?
So I know we got the 10 o'clock. So I think it'll be a 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. So we got the late draw again, but that's also because it's in Seattle. And then it should be ESPN.
Yes. 9 o'clock. Okay.
Another late one.
Cool. I hear you.
I'm gonna be honest about this, and this comes from me following women's basketball for about 4 weeks. Okay, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But when you look at Louisville and you look at Iowa, Ole Miss can just as easily go to the Final Four as anybody else in that bracket.
Well, they're the third favorite right now. I saw something posted on Twitter. They're plus 600. They're the
Yeah,
third favorite. Iowa's the favorite. So,
yeah. As the 2 seed, they probably earned that, and they're an offensive team, so they might have a little bit of trouble with what Yo is going to throw at them.
looks like they're
So
staying on the West Coast because I think I saw something where they've already arrived in Seattle.
Yeah, I don't know if they came back. Um,
yeah, I mean it makes sense if they didn't.
Probably
I think I
cheaper.
saw a post where they said they arrived in Seattle. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, I think this Louisville game is going to be interesting because we have very similar styles. Very fast paced, very aggressive. Both sides play good defense. We're gonna have to be careful on fouls, but we did a pretty good job against Stanford. Shots are gonna have to go down. We're gonna have to make some smart shots there, but pretty gonna be a pretty close game, I think. Very close. Very
yeah,
very similar teams.
wasn't Louisville 7 seed?
Five, I think. Yeah.
Five.
yeah,
All right, okay. All right.
yeah. Let's see. Iowa's the 2, Louisville is the 5, and then who else is in that side of the bracket? I think the 7 seed is there.
Let me check.
That would be the team that has a less chance than us, probably.
I know. Let's see. Texas is out.
It's Duke.
I thought
Duke.
Duke was
Okay.
out. Is Duke not out? Maybe I'm wrong.
Did they lose to Colorado?
Yeah, I think Colorado won.
Wow. Never mind then. It's one of those two teams.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the 6th seed Colorado is playing Iowa, and then it's LSU and Utah, Miami, Villanova, and then us Louisville on Friday. Saturday, I don't see anything higher than a 4.
Okay. Well, it should be interesting. Yeah, I've got a new addition that I've put into my set, and it's called a tidbit. And what it is if you picture what like 1970s scoreboards look like
Mm-hmm.
in Major League Baseball with the lights and all
Oh,
that,
nice.
this thing is like LED. They can do different things, but like if you put the rankings up of football teams, or you can just like put an Ole Miss where the record pops up, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Baseball scores and all that. You can just set it up and you just do a game cast essentially.
Pretty nice. Pretty.
Yeah, so I'm looking and playing with that on my set over the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
So tomorrow it debuts. So, but anyway, I will let everybody get back to what they were doing. Thank y'all so much for joining us tonight. If you missed anything, you can check out the replay. It's going to pop up on YouTube by the end of the week. Thank you for Kara coming in tonight. Rick, Michael, thank you very much. Cassidy, thank you so much for watching, listening. And anyway, we're just going to keep pressing forward. Now that football started, it's going to increase my workload significantly, but it should be great. Anyway, thank y'all very much, and hotty
Hotty
toddy.
toddy.